you're going to show me how this interactive map system works.
Yeah, definitely.
What's the reasoning behind this this tool?
Okay, well, this was produced for the Birmingham Museum Trust, so they've got a new Birmingham History Gallery at the museum in the middle of town. It's a £10 million new gallery, and they wanted to use a multi-touch table to enable, again, audiences to access loads of stuff that's in the store that can't be brought out as part of the display. And we figured, okay, best place to start is a map, because it's about Birmingham, so we'll start with a map. But then we started to think, how do we plot all of the different kinds of objects that we've got onto a map? And John, working with Joe and Chris, key members of our European Regional Development Fund project, came up with this ingenious solution, with John driving the coding, that he figured if he could put a lens over the map, then it would only show things that related to the subject of the lens. In this case, Frank and Arthur Lockwood, who are great Birmingham artists, father and son, and that you would be able to bring up Arthur's work, or in this case actually Frank's work, his son, and observe it in enormous detail. And actually, as it happens, Frank was at the launch of the gallery and saw this and said he couldn't quite believe that his work could be seen in this detail. Thankfully, he wasn't spotting any mistakes that might have been made. So it's a really wonderful resource, so you access Frank's work. But if you use this lens instead, so you're looking now at the 1940s to the 80s, you can't see any of Frank and Arthur's work, you just see objects that are drawn from the collection from that period, in this case, musical youth, who I remember and didn't enormously enjoy first time round. Or perhaps Aston Villa. And you can imagine the kinds of conversations that this can provoke around a touch table in the Birmingham History Galleries. And not everybody's favourite team, but quite a lot of people's. Or you can go even more up to date and be looking at content that's from the 1990s to today. So you get, in this case, what are we finding? We're finding vacuum vessels. I've got no idea what they are, but I can probably find out by asking for more information. What we're really enjoying watching happen with this table at BMAG is different generations interacting, choosing different things to look at, and then starting to compare them, starting to fall into conversation. They can pass stuff across the table and rotate it and so on. It's a stimulation for conversation. It's provoking learning across generations, and that's just really exciting. You know, my dad was a lecturer before me, and sadly for me he was a much better lecturer, but he taught me that lecturing is a form of communication whereby one person speaks without thinking very much to a room full of people who listen without thinking very much, and that I shouldn't be a lecturer, I should run seminars. And he was right, and seminars are so exciting for me as an academic. It's when I get to sit back and watch the students debate and discuss amongst themselves, their new knowledge is being generated. And this kind of technology seems to me, with my very academic approach to this, to be the opposite of a lecture. This is a tool for seminars. This is a tool that provokes people to enter into conversation. It's not just one person interacting with one resource, it's debate and discussion.
It acts as a catalyst for further discussion, basically.
Absolutely does. And actually, there's something interesting about this particular table. This is not the case in the table in Birmingham, so the one in Birmingham is like this, but this table has been fitted with these sensors by Hafiz, who's one of our PhD students, and what he's exploring is the idea of the intelligent environment, intelligent space. So these sensors detect people approaching the table and they orientate content towards them. So it becomes even easier to interact, and he'll be exploring how content can then be tailored to make the most of that new kind of facility. I think this is Hafiz's opening gambit. What he really wants is properly intelligent galleries, so it wouldn't just be that the table knows that you're coming and that somebody's coming from the other side, but it's worked out how wide you are and how tall you are, and might have made some assumptions about the fact you might be a child, in which case you get particular kinds of content. But of course, that all has to be rigorously user tested before it ends up in a gallery space.
Fascinating, thank you.